Welcome to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. I am, of course, Sara Gonzales. It'd be weird if I had another name. And I am coming to you once again from my home setup because the AC was... Apparently, it's just now fixed at the studio. But I am here, and I will be out the rest of the week. I apologize to inform you guys if you did not hear my announcement yesterday. I've got some other work-related things going on throughout the rest of the week, but we will be back with you Monday. I know. Tear right here. I'll miss you guys as much as you will miss me, or at least I like to think that you do. You can find me at AmericanBeautyBySarah.com. Go stock up on your lipstick. Go stock up on your sequin jackets. Go stock up on your skincare. We've got it all over at AmericanBeautyBySarah.com. I am joined today by Matthew Marsden, BlazeTV contributor and actor and producer extraordinaire, along with not just Justin Haskins, but Justin T. Haskins, because he has to be extra fancy. He is, of course, the senior fellow at the Heartland Institute, and he is actually making me look bad because he is, as you can see behind him, he is at Blaze Studios, in one of the studios where it actually, the AC is working and it's actually freezing cold, Justin.
Don't diminish my sacrifice. I've been in this hot box all day. For this, I'm just dying while you've been at home with your modern luxuries, and it's because I'm committed, because I care about freedom, and I guess other people just don't. But that's okay.
Other people don't.
Yeah.
Other people don't. Not mentioning any names. Maybe her name's in the show title.
Maybe.
Who knows?
I don't know.
Who can really say?
Who's to say? Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry that I'm missing you in person, but I'm glad you were still able to join us today. And I'm really glad that I have you and Matt here to talk today about this first story because, Justin, you are white. And Matt, you are white and also an immigrant. And I just feel like it's very... You're just learning this now, right? Yes, you. And so I feel like it's perfect. Yes, you. I feel like it's perfect to have you guys here to talk about the latest freak out from the Democrat Party. They spent all of this time freaking out about the fact that we were trying to deport illegal criminals. And they were like, but we want more gang members. Bring us more illegal gang members. We love immigration. And so that was their talking point, was like, the right hates immigration. We love it, even when it's violent criminals. And now you have President Trump welcoming about 50 legal, of course, refugees from South Africa. And they are, you'll notice, they're white. They're all white because they are fleeing from South Africa, where it is not safe to be anymore if you are, in fact, white. And so here they are with all their babies and their American flags. And as you can imagine, this just seems too picture perfect. And so therefore, I guess the left has to hate it. And I mean, what is there to hate here? These people are very excited. They're clearly patriotic. They actually appreciate where they are heading, which is, of course, our country. They appreciate that we are bringing them in. They appreciate the American dream and American opportunity. And who would hate that? Oh, enter the Democrats, who are, of course, having a hissy fit over President Trump allowing legal white refugees. Watch.
The Trump administration, they're saying that essentially these white South Africans assimilate better, and they're also not as much of a security risk. That's really causing a lot of people to be appalled, frankly. And I also should tell people that this violence that they're talking about that are dealing with these Afrikaners, I've been hearing from people that say there is violence in South Africa, but it's affecting everybody of every single race.
So deeply and morally wrong-headed and repulsive. These are the descendants of the people who created the most diabolical system of white supremacy in human history, apartheid.
Oh, no.
They're not directly responsible for it.
The Trump administration
No,
is a
they're
lot
not.
of things. But one thing it certainly is a white nationalist project. And oftentimes we don't want to describe it as such. I'm not reducing it to it because there's greed, there's graft, there's all sorts of things happening around it. But we need to understand the way in which great replacement theory is driving this. There's a sense in which the immigration policy is all about demographic shifts. There's a sense around the assault on voting rights and civil rights. It's all about who will have the decision-making power to determine who will run the country. And here, this idea that the republic must remain a white nation is evidenced in this move, which is so explicit that it cannot be denied. And so when we don't describe it for what it is, we become, in an ironic way, complicit in what they're doing.
So what's the difference between the refugees that they're talking about here and those refugees?
I could guess. I mean, I think everyone...
They're white.
They're white. Thank you.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, they may be white, but in regard to the fact that they said, oh, well, the Trump administration thinks these people will assimilate better. Yeah, I mean, they're not in a violent Venezuelan gang. So my money is on the normal white Afrikaners coming in and assimilating, not because they're white, but because they're not illegal criminals. First of all, Justin, your thoughts?
Well, they also speak English, which I imagine is a pretty important part of the equation. I also love how this is somehow evidence of this vast, like, white nationalist conspiracy to overturn white replacement there, like all this stuff. It's like there are 50 people. If this is some giant like scheme to overtake the United States, it's the worst scheme ever. It's 50 people. And then the other part of it is like we just had who knows how many tens of millions of people come across the border over many decades all sorts of people from Central America and Indonesia probably and all over the world. They're coming across the Mexican border. And that wasn't replacement theory. See, that wasn't that. But 50 people from South Africa, ironclad evidence. White people are taking over everything, apparently. It's insane. It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah, no, it is, to Justin's point, Matt, that would be pretty dumb. That would be the worst strategy ever, to be like, oh, you brought us 20 million? I'll give you 50. You've got to be the worst at math ever to think that that's somehow going to win in the race for, whatever this is, Matt.
It's just massive gaslighting, isn't it? And as we've said over and over, there's no other way to dress this up, but it's racism. Because we have said all along that we don't have a problem with legal immigrants coming into the country. It's the illegal immigrants that we have an issue with. So you've got a bunch of people here that went through a process. They went through a process to come to America. And oh, look, they're waving an American flag. They weren't waving a South African flag, which we see all the time, right? The amount of times that we look at these riots that are going on in the streets when they're protesting protesting against illegal immigration in the sense that they want illegal immigration. You see them out there, they're waving the Mexican flag. I'm like, you guys are so stupid. At least wave the American flag. At least kind of make an attempt to look like you want to be here, right? And one more thing, Sarah. Do not send your kids to an Ivy League college because that is what you're getting. That guy there is the education that your kids are getting. So you are better off obviously homeschooling, putting your kids into a trade, or going to an authentic religious college. Do not send them to Princeton, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, any of those universities because they are just hives for the woke mind virus, right? Don't do it because you're going to lose your kids.
Yeah, but that guy. But are you talking about Mr. Eddie Glaude? I think that's how you say his name, Eddie Glaude. Really, you're talking about? Did you know that he has blue glasses? Was that a factor in your consideration?
Oh, if he's got blue glasses, I take it all back.
He is very fancy.
He's very
smart. Very elite. You can tell
very
by
smart.
His glasses. And yes, and he actually is a Princeton professor. So avoid Princeton. Yeah, exactly. I would say. There was another thing that one of those blowhards said that really pissed me off, which was, Justin, they were trying to demonize these Afrikaners who are coming here. They're trying to demonize them by saying, like, well, these are descendants of people who engaged in really bad things. It's like, hold on a second. You're freely admitting that they had nothing to do with it, and now you're assigning them all sorts of blame because they're descendants of white people in South Africa. Like, that's nuts.
I hate to break it. I hate to break it to Eddie or whoever it was that made that point. Everyone is a descendant of someone terrible. Right. Just go far enough back. Some of us don't have to go that far back. Others have to go really far. It doesn't matter. Eventually, you'll get to someone who did something really, really bad. But in America, we don't criminalize people or punish them because of things that their ancestors did. That's how it's supposed to work. You would think this is just common sense, basic logic, normal standards of justice and fairness, but it isn't when it comes to white people, because this isn't really about immigration. It's about Marxism. It's about this whole idea of there's the oppressors and the people who have been oppressed, and then we're going to group them into categories, not treat them as individuals, and then we're going to punish some categories of people and demographics and reward others so that we can build a society that looks equal in our mind, our conception of equal. And we're going to right all the wrongs of the past that we care about. We're going to ignore all the ones we don't care about. And that's basically the North Star for all of these people, all of these policies. And that's the only way that any of this makes sense. By the way, I looked it up. 180,000 Mexicans came to America in just 1 year recently, legally. So 50 versus 180,000, and that's legal immigration. Obviously, we're not even talking about the illegal stuff. So, I mean, obviously, there's nothing going on here. It's just totally insane. But but this is what you get. This is what you get at Ivy League schools. It's what you get, frankly, at most state universities. By the way, too, you don't have to go to an Ivy League school to get this crazy Marxist stuff. It's just the way that elites think, and it's the way they're passing it on to their children.
Sounds like something a white person would say.
I know. Well, there's nothing I can do about it. My ancestors,
your ancestors did very bad things. Very, very bad things. I'm sure some of them did. You will never live it down.
I know. Apparently not.
Well, here's the thing, too, is that, to your point, they are, while saying if you are white, you are connected to someone somewhere in your lineage that was really terrible, and therefore you have to pay for it. They are also saying, but the illegal gangbangers who are literally beating their wives now, who exist right now, are totally fine. And they don't have any price to pay.
What about their grandkids? See, their grandkids will pay.
Yeah, go ahead.
The grandkids will pay. See, that's how it works. Right. You don't get punished in this life for what you do wrong. It's the grandkids. They're the ones that have to suffer for your sins. That's how this all works.
Yeah, it's just like I feel like a broken record at this point. And Matt, you're on here all the time, so you probably will feel like a broken record or think that I sound like a broken record. But I'm like, the Democrats just need to please keep doing this. Please keep doing this. Please keep simping for literal gang members and violent criminals to come back to our country while also saying, hey, these peaceful legal refugees, 50 of them are somehow a problem. They're trying to flood the gates with, you may have thought that I said 15. No, I said 50. That's a whole lot of people. It's just like, you guys, please keep doing this. You will literally never win another election if you keep this up, Matt.
No, me and Matt Peterson, he came around to my house last night and we were talking about this, is that I don't think the Democrats will win an election, for the next 3 cycles, because they are making no sense whatsoever. I mean, even if you look at what they've been saying recently, you mentioned the gang members, they're saying he shouldn't be sent away because he's been here for a long time. They've also been saying he shouldn't be sent away because he has American children. And in the same vein, that so the kid isn't responsible for what is going on with the dad, but then they're kind of insinuating, even though they said that they didn't, that the South Africans were really responsible for what their grandparents
Right.
did. So you're like, hang on a minute, like you guys are not making any sense whatsoever. They're not putting anyone forward that has any kind of coherent message. And again, they have been so obsessed with being anti-orange man, they have lost their mind. There's no logic to anything that they say. There's no sense to anything that they say. And people are seeing it. And when you have people come out, and it's clearly it's because they're a bunch of white people. But here's the thing, Sarah, I have to ask this. If you come over and you are born in America, you're American, right? But if you're born in
Yes.
Africa, somehow you're not African? I'm trying to figure that out, right? I'm trying to figure that out. If you are born in Africa, then no, you're not African. But you
you're
are,
white.
if the same thing applies to being born in America, you are American. And they can't get that together. And they do, again, because in one instance, they're separating it on the color of their skin because they're saying, oh, you know, you're the descendant of someone. But it doesn't matter if you are one generation, like, you know, my kids are American, so I can say that. But if someone is illegal, they come over here and they have kids, then those kids are automatically American. It doesn't matter what the color they are. So
Right.
they're not keeping consistent with the way they apply their logic because they have no logic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you'd
And
have to
everyone's
have
looking at it
Justin.
going, this is just totally confusing.
Yeah, Justin, now Matt is correct, but also you would have to have two brain cells to rub together in order to have any sort of logic, and they don't seem to have that in the Democrat Party these days.
Well, the guiding principle here is not logic. The guiding principle is not consistency. The guiding principle is we have this Marxist conception of there's groups that we deem oppressed and there's other groups that are not deemed oppressed, and the oppressors deserve to be punished and their children deserve to be punished, and we're going to lump everybody into giant groups and treat them all like they're the same, as if everyone's experience is based on the color of their skin, and we're going to build an entire political apparatus and marketing campaign and for decades around this one thing, and that is largely what the Democratic Party has done, and so they have to hold to it. To be, you know, in a way, they are being consistent, right? They're saying, yes, we do want to punish white people for things that their ancestors did. We consistently say that. So we're not going to give the South African white people a break. Like, we don't give the American white people a break. So why would we give them one? I mean, that's how they think. And of course, it's not right or just or fair or honest or consistent with other things. None of that matters. It's about scoring political points. It's about, you know, having other elites, mostly white people like you, for saying these kinds of crazy things on CNN or wherever this guy was. And that's how all of this is focused. And yes, it is a huge benefit to the Republican Party, because the Republican Party is the party of normal people who do not think these insane things. That's the reality. I'm not saying everyone in the Republican Party is normal. Some of them are lunatics too. But generally speaking, it's really hard to be a normal person and be in the Democrat Party. It can happen, but it's tough. It's real tough.
Yeah. Well, and if it does happen, they seem to get kicked out for being too normal. They're like, no, you're too normal
to yourself.
You're too sane. Exactly.
Sarah,
Exactly. You take
Sarah,
that normal somewhere else. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I
real
just
quick.
make another point? A lot of people died in the United States to free the slaves.
Yeah.
That took white people to fight against other white people to free the slaves. It took white people in South Africa to get rid of apartheid. And yes, it was a horrendous regime, but it did take white people to fight back against it for it to change. And that is just completely memory hold. Any kind of sacrifice from white people seems to be just dismissed like it never, ever happened. So you don't know, we don't know, those people that were standing there, we don't know what sacrifices their families went through over the years after apartheid, you know, or to fight against apartheid, to make blacks equal. We don't know that. They could have gone through massive amounts of hardship. But again, they are treated, and we don't do this, but they are treating everyone who is white as the same. And they do it over and over and over again. And you're right. I mean, if you look at black people are not one monolithic group of people. They're from they have all different cultures. They're from all different parts of the world. You've got Jamaicans, you've got West Indians, you've got, Africans. In Africa, it's a big place, right? Africa has a lot of different cultures and so, but they just lump everyone in. They say, this is the color of your skin. That is it. And that's how we're going to treat you based upon your immutable characteristics. And it is just the worst. It's the least most interesting thing about people. And it's the least most relevant thing that you should make your opinions about someone based upon. It's unbelievable to me.
Sounds like
and I think
something a
people
white
are just
person would say.
rejecting it. I know, yeah. I'm saying this from a prism of white supremacy and white privilege. I'm just saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't think for a second that was lost on me, because it wasn't. All right. Okay. Stick with me, guys. We've got more to come. First, I want to remind you guys, if you haven't yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching, especially on YouTube right now, just hit the subscribe button. You want to. You know what else you want to do? You want to smash the like button, or you can gently tap it. We all appreciate a gentle tapping from time to time. Just make sure that like button is, of course, lit up, and comment. It'll help us in the algorithm, which, although we did just recently get remonetized, we all know is still stacked against us as conservatives. All right, want to thank our sponsor this segment, Relief Factor. So Relief Factor is there for those of you who live in constant pain. Maybe you thought that you should get like a steroid injection and didn't listen to your friends about healing your pain naturally, and it didn't work and you're still in constant pain. Not that I'm naming any names, but point is, if that's you're in pain, try Relief Factor. It's an all-natural anti-inflammatory. It targets the inflammation in your body, which is typically, that's where your pain is coming from. It's the inflammation that's causing it. So if you can get rid of it, cut it off at its head, it can be life-changing for you. Get that 3-week quick start that's on the screen right now. It's $19.95. 70% of the people who order it keep ordering more. That's how many people it's working for. The odds are in your favor. Listen, I'm not a mathematician, okay? I do know two things. Number one, I know that 50 Afrikaners doesn't hold a candle to 20 million illegals from all sorts of places. I also know that 70% is a really high number. So the odds are in your favor that 70%, you're going to be out of pain, and it could be life-changing. Go to relieffactor.com. Get that 3-week quick start over at relieffactor.com. On the topic of illegal immigration, we have breaking news as of this afternoon, gentlemen. A federal judge has just ruled that President Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act to deport Tren de Aragua gang members is legal. And they said that Trump's proclamation and the documents, quote, support the finding that TDA is committing a predatory incursion. And it is apparently legal, according to at least one federal judge. Obviously, this is going to be tied up in the courts for a while, but who knew that there was a judge out there who could actually tell his ass from his elbow and decide that, hey, instead of trying to, throw President Trump some curveballs, let's just go by the law. Let's just interpret what's constitutional and what's not. Let's just leave it at that. And so now we have this breaking news. I'm just going to say this, and I want to get into this other stuff that we have, but I just, as we all know, Sara Gonzales Unfiltered, President Trump's favorite show. Everyone knows that. It's, we don't like to brag about it, but like he doesn't miss a Sara Gonzales Unfiltered show, or so I'm told, allegedly. Okay. And I would just like to tell them, I'm so happy that you guys are doing anything to get all of these illegals out of the country. But if we could just ramp it up a couple notches, especially with this recent ruling, if we could just like really ramp it up, and if we could just keep having these new numbers coming out, because the DHS website has been stuck at 100,000 for a very long time. And you got, I think both of you guys know, Justin and Matt, the deportation tracker that we had we had the deportation tracker, and then I realized, like, you guys are not changing the damn numbers. And I was tired of 100,000 being on the screen the whole time, so I just stopped showing it. And so it's like, okay, we got the federal judge. He ruled in our favor, or she. I'm going to guess it's a he. He ruled in our favor, and like, let's just put the pedal to the metal and get these people the hell out of our country. And neither of you guys can say, sounds like something a white person would say, because I'm not. Justin, I'll let you go first.
Thanks. So that's a very nice lead-in. Look, I think that ultimately this was a huge mistake by the left to try to stop this in the courts, because at some point, actually, the worst thing that could happen is it stops right where it is right now, where they've lost, but it ends at a district court level. If this makes its way to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court decides, yep, this is totally fine, which is probably going to happen if they get to that level, then they never get this back. And I think it's just a huge strategic mistake on their part. They've overplayed their hands. They're constantly engaging in warfare. And I really think this is an example of it backfiring. I also don't understand how this law wouldn't apply to an organized group of people that are like murdering and transporting things across, and people, human trafficking, like across borders, and somehow this doesn't count. Who does this law apply to in their minds? Like, I don't get, it's just incredible that anyone would take that position. It's amazing. So I hope this backfires. I really do. And I think it will.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, well, listen, Matt, when you've got the brainiacs like, Jasmine Crockett and AOC leading the charge in the Democrat Party, who knows what could happen?
Yeah, I mean, this is just a disaster for them. I mean, as we've said before, they used to say, oh, it's the granny that's at the border. Look, they're deporting the mom and they're kicking the kids out. And now they're just full on going, no, we want a gang member back in the country. And that just doesn't resonate with anybody. I don't know anyone that is thinking that that is a good idea or that they want that. And it's been a massive red pill for a lot of people. As you said, look, we all know why they want them in here, because what they want to do is they want to get them in, then they want to give them ID, and then they want them to vote. If these people were coming in and they were voting Republican, the border would be shut like toot sweet. It would be done immediately, right? So we know what they're trying to do, but by overplaying their hand, as Justin said, is that like they're massively overplaying their hand. They've alerted everyone to the truth of what they're really trying to do. And again, I've said it earlier on, I don't think that they will win in the next 3 elections. I don't. If we don't implode, if we get a couple of JD Vances and at least one Ron DeSantis in there, I think that I cannot see them running anyone that is competent, because, by the way, we've taken them. The person that they should have run was Tulsi Gabbard. She's working for us now, so I think that they are in a lot of trouble. I think they're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Justin, I do want to get to this next story, and it ties perfectly into all of this immigration talk. But what are your thoughts on elections to come, the midterms? Do we still, because I watch this and I'm just so gleeful that we're finally in the driver's seat, that I'm like, we're good, we're gonna sail, we're gonna coast. And then I'm like, well, I don't know, because historically midterms have been really hard and there's still a lot of game to be played. Not to claim that this is just all a game, but you know what I mean with the analogy. There's still a lot of game left to be played, and maybe a lot of it remains to be seen. But it does feel like we have the momentum still, right?
Yeah, I mean, so the bad news is this. If you go back and you look at elections and you go all the way back to the 1970s, there has only been 2 times since like 1970 or so that you've had a president come in and his party win, and then that party stays in power in the midterm right after that. Okay? Wow. It almost never happens. The 2 times it happened was Jimmy Carter back in the 70s when Democrats won the House always, and so that was the reason why. And the other time was George W. Bush in 2002 right after 9/11. That's the only 2 times that it's happened. Everybody else, even Golden Boy Barack Obama, it didn't even happen for him. So it is that's the bad news. The good news is we may have found people so spectacularly stupid and bad at politics that they find a way to break the trend. And I think it literally may have happened. These are the pro organized crime party. Like that's the platform now. That's part of the platform. And I don't think that platform usually wins. So it is remarkable. It is remarkable what has happened. But there are a lot of people voting who really don't know what the hell they're doing. And so it's incredibly, it's very possible that this could happen. The other thing to keep in mind is that in the last go around of the census and then the redistricting of House seats, Democrats had a lot of power during that period of time. And so the redistricting favored them heavily. That's one of the reasons why the House is so tight right now compared to back, say 10 years ago or whatever, like during the Barack Obama years when the Republicans were winning overwhelmingly. Now, that's part of it is because the redistricting favored the Democrats. So that's another hurdle for Republicans. But with that said, we are dealing with spectacularly stupid policy ideas that nobody wants. And the other side of that is there's no positive platform either. It's not like, we have a bunch of stupid ideas, but we have great ideas too off to the side that everybody loves. They don't have any positive ideas. It's all negative, and a lot of the negative ideas are dumb. And so I do wonder how likely it is, but I wouldn't put anything past voters in a midterm election.
Yeah. I mean, you'd like to hope that voters are not that stupid. But they did vote in Joe Biden once, I'm told, in the safest and most secure election in which Joe Biden definitely got 81 million votes, more than Barack Obama. Very, very popular, that Joe Biden. Can't wait to read the book talking about how he pooped his pants every day in the White House. All right, we've got more to come. First, we want to thank our sponsor this segment, First Liberty Institute. So First Liberty Institute, I love partnering with these guys because they are really, really great at helping you protect your God-given rights to direct your children's healthcare, to direct your children's life, to direct their education, their spiritual development. I don't know if you guys know this. You probably do if you watch this show. It's like only every single, industry, every single place, education, medical, psychological, all of these industries have been infiltrated by leftists who are trying to grab a hold of your children and, of course, indoctrinate them into Marxism. So what First Liberty is doing is they are trying to just inform parents about their right to raise their children according to, of course, their beliefs. You can go to firstliberty.org/Sarah. You can learn what First Liberty is doing right now to protect the rights of parents for generations to come. This is great information for you guys to have, and they should be your first call if you have any questions about something that is happening in you or your child's life. firstliberty.org/Sarah. I would love to live in a world in which I don't have to even say the name David Hogg ever again. But I, unfortunately, for both myself and my guests and anyone who is watching, unfortunately, today is not that day because as some of you may know, David Hogg, the Parkland survivor, which I'm still unclear on the term survivor because I read that he wasn't actually on the school grounds that day, but he was parading around as if he was. That's fine. I mean, I get it. He had classmates there, and I don't begrudge him anything on that. However, he has, of course, turned into this little soy boy Democrat Party activist, and he had recently become the vice chair of the Democrat Party. Well, the Democrats don't like him either, and Democrat National Committee panel voted to void its election of David Hogg. And yeah, DNC moves to oust rising star David Hogg just months after he was elected, probably because they don't want him to be a rising star because he's really, really bad at this. And so he was 25 years old, the youngest ever, and now the Democrats internally are scrambling, trying to figure out how the hell to get rid of him. Now, he said that they claim that it's nothing to do with anything other than some sort of procedural issue. But I want to play David Hogg. He was just on Bill Maher not that long ago, Bill Maher's show, and he was talking about this attempt to oust him. Watch.
What's interesting is that's even more progressive than our vision, which is that the chair doesn't count towards the gender balance rule that we have. Frankly, I don't even know if it makes sense for us to have the gender balance rule anymore in this day and age, because I want to focus on whoever's just best at the job.
Great.
At this point, that's my own view.
Terrific.
And, you know.
So, yeah, I hear Justin. You're laughing back there?
No, I don't know what you're talking
thoughts on
about.
this?
That wasn't me. Somebody else.
This is really, really beautiful to see.
Oh yeah, I mean, this is just. I don't think he understands which party he's in. He's serving it, but that's not how it works in that part. It definitely, that's not how it works at all. So I don't know why he would think that's acceptable. I actually think the reason they don't like him is because he's been somewhat open. I'm not a fan, so please do not interpret it this way. But he has
Justin's a David Hogg apologist.
No,
Go ahead.
Please don't do that. I don't need that baggage for the rest of my life. But he has been very vocal at times about criticizing sort of the party leadership for, keeping mentally deranged Joe Biden in the office for too long and things like that. And it's not like crazy critical or anything, but he has been at least somewhat critical. And this is a party where everyone must walk in lockstep. So that's very possibly the reason. They love elevating young people who are unqualified for positions. So I've got to believe that they would really want to do that in this case if they could. So there must be something, he must be stirring the pot in a way that they don't like in order for him to be ousted like this. Because that's the only reason that they would do that. And the rule thing makes no sense because they change the rules whenever they want. It's their rules. So it doesn't even make any sense. But I think that's the real reason.
Yeah, no, to Justin's point, Matt, this is the same party who, like, Kamala Harris was all of a sudden their candidate and she got 0 votes in the primary. And they were like, those were guidelines, suggestions. It's fine. We don't have to, we'll just set it up however we want. We are the Democrat Party. Matt, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's got to be bad if he's failing in the Democrat Party. I mean, he's no AOC, is he? I mean, that's all I'm going to say. No, I mean, look, that they, as Justin said, I mean, he's absolutely right? They don't ever care about procedure. They certainly don't care about laws. So for them to come out and say this is utter bunkum, he's probably pissed the wrong person off. He has shown. And again, I am not a fan of his in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, but, another David Hogg apologist here.
No, but I'm just saying right there, he said a controversial thing and said that all I'm interested in is somebody being competent. And you can't say that. You can't say that because that is not a qualifier for you in the Democratic Party. He's bucking the trend right there. So it's kind of funny. Like, I mean, they do put people like Jasmine Crockett and AOC up there. And if you are losing, if you're getting pushed out by the party that is pushing those two, you are in a world of pain. I'm just telling you, that's bad.
Yeah, that's a great point. I remember when he started like a pillow company because he was like, I'm gonna challenge Mike Lindell, and it was something. What, Steven, do you remember what the pillow company's name was? He was like, instead of my pillow, it's going to be your pillow or something. That was so mind-numbingly stupid, and it was very short-lived. But this is also the guy who, didn't they give him like an Ivy League scholarship or something, and the guy can't even spell
he went to Harvard,
correctly?
didn't he?
I mean, he's had, but like it was a very a very controversial, I'm trying to look it up. It was a very like controversial acceptance, I think, when people looked into it. And it seemed
but
to
he does,
be
he makes sorry, Sarah, he makes spelling errors and stuff and all the time, which is, again, if you want another example of why not to send your kid to Harvard, there you have it, right?
Right.
The Your
That's
Pillow guy.
That's what. Yeah. Sorry, it was what was it, Stephen? Good Pillow.
Good Pillow.
Good Pillow. It was Good Pillow because you only thought that My Pillow was good, but it doesn't say good in the title, and now you know from the title. Like I said, very short-lived. He didn't really think that
with
went through.
innovative ideas like that. I don't know, frankly, how the Democrat Party is going to live without him in a leadership position. They got to get him back up there. I think this is key. I mean, honestly, we should be advocating. Somebody's got to get behind this guy. Nobody else will. Somebody has to do it. I think this show, perfectly situated, not while I'm on it anymore.
It's true.
But when I leave, you get behind the hog bandwagon, you get on it, and we just ride that thing all the way till, what was his position? He had a weird position, too. It wasn't even, it was like some obscure Democratic Party committee vice chair, something.
Yeah, it was vice chair. I thought it was just the vice chair. Was it like vice chair of the vice chair?
I don't think it's vice chair. Well, it might be vice chair technically, but it's not like he's second in command of the whole party. That's not how it works. It's a lower level position, or whatever it is.
And actually, okay, to your point, since we have a couple minutes that we can play around with here, let's go ahead and he talked about that on the Bill Maher show. We have a little bit of that exchange. Watch.
Well, it's like deja vu. Look, we're very proud of you. We feel you grew up on this show. How many times have you been on this show?
This is my third time.
Oh, I thought it was like 8. Okay, well.
No, I'm not that old yet.
You're done very well. No, you're only 25, and you're the vice chair of the Democratic National Committee. Very impressive. What does that job entail?
So that job really helps to play a role in managing a lot of what the DNC focuses on, which is things like the presidential primary. It's helping to be the campaign and waiting for the president. It's helping to manage the debate schedule and helping to support our state parties and local parties around the country. It's a volunteer role, I should add, as well. So it's entirely volunteer capacity.
So nothing.
Yeah.
So nothing, to Justin's point. That is what he did as the DNC vice chair. By the way, I know we have to go to break here, but I will just say, so David Hogg had an SAT score of 1270, which is below the 25th percentile of admitted students to Harvard, who typically score around 1460. So very curious, especially as a white boy, very curious to see that David Hogg got in with such a mediocre SAT score, got into Harvard. I'm sure it couldn't possibly be all the activism that he did after such a terrible tragedy happened at his school. All right, we've got to take another quick break. We'll be back with more. Hang on to your seats. First, we want to thank our sponsor this segment, Preborn. So Preborn, I just talked to them. I'm so excited. I can't wait to update you guys. We are doing this this whole month of May. It's Mother's Day month. And we are trying to celebrate and honor mothers by helping Preborn sponsor as many ultrasounds as possible. They have not updated this graphic yet. I have the number. I'm telling you, I don't know if I'm allowed to tell you yet, but we are making progress. We are not quite there. We are past that first ticker. But we want to get to the second ticker. So help us. These are women who are scared. They have unplanned pregnancies. They're thinking about terminating their baby, aborting their baby. And Preborn is welcoming them in and showing them the actual truth. This is not a clump of cells. This is your baby. You can hear the heartbeat. You can see your baby on ultrasound. And in that moment, that woman is twice as likely to choose life. We are saving as many babies' lives as possible this month on Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. We're trying to get to 600 ultrasounds, but we need your help. $28 is the cost of an ultrasound. So how many ultrasounds can you help us sponsor? If it's just one, that's totally fine, because you know that $28 is literally saving babies' lives. And I can't think of anything more noble. So please, preborn.com/Sarah. Help us get to 600 this month. Preborn.com/Sarah. All right, got a couple more minutes here. And before we get back into it with the guys, I'm going to make Justin really regret deciding to come on this show today because we want to thank our last sponsor of the show, BlueChew. So BlueChew, listen, the little blue pill, people used to be like, oh, if you have ED, you should get this blue pill. Well, this is, of course, a chewable. And it's not just for ED anymore. It's like for funsies. So if you're looking to spice things up in the bedroom, yep, there you go. That's what I'm talking about. BlueChew is offering a combo so strong, it'll knock your socks off and your spouse's socks off. This tells me right here, you'll have to move towns with the amount of noise you'll be making. They said it, not me. Just listen, they know what they're talking about. So they've got a BlueChew Max. It combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable. It acts fast and it lasts. So I'm just saying, guys, be ready when she needs it and get your first month of BlueChew for free. BlueChew.com. They'll set you up with one of their medical providers. This is all on the up and up, of course, made directly in the USA. You don't have to worry about China being involved. And if you try your first month of BlueChew for free when you use promo code Sarah, you'll just pay $5 in shipping. Have some fun. Your lady will thank you. BlueChew.com, promo code Sarah. All right, we've got a couple minutes left here, guys. And I want to just get into very briefly, obviously, the Diddy trial that is happening right now. And you've got, allegedly he paid a hotel security guard $100,000 in a brown paper bag to stay silent about this assault on his girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in 2016. We've seen the footage from that assault. It was very, very brutal and graphic. And according to the trial, he wanted to prevent this footage from getting out. I mean, the dude's totally guilty. Matt, I'm going to go to you first because you are, of course, recovering Hollywooder. You lived in that scene. Is there any chance this guy is not guilty, one, but number two, will he go down for it?
I mean, look, from what I've seen, and this is only my opinion, obviously, is that, he's in a lot of trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. And yeah, I do think he's going to go down. What is more interesting to me is the people that are implicated with him, like how far the net spreads out, how many people are involved. And I think that this could really pull down, the majority of the music industry, to be honest. Certainly the R&B and rap side of things, I think it's bad. And of course, there's a lot of crossover into the movies as well. So it's really bad. And I think that we've known for years in Hollywood that things like this were going on. You kind of hear things. You don't. I was never, obviously. I'm not expecting a knock at my door from the FBI. So I wasn't ever involved in any of that. But I think that God probably saved me from that. But there's a lot of that goes on in Hollywood, Sarah. The rumors are that a lot of it goes on. I never thought anything like this, to be honest. It's very shocking to me this is beyond. But then I wasn't in that circle, But I think he's going to go down. I think he's going to take a lot of people down with him.
Justin, we got 30 seconds left. Your final thoughts on this?
I just think it's incredible how nobody said anything about this for so long. I just think it's just such an indictment. There is clearly a two-class justice system in this country, and hopefully that's going to be resolved soon. And if he's guilty, he should go to jail.
Amen. All right, we will see you guys Monday. Back at it. See you then.